So in this video, I'm going to share what is codependency, what does the recovery process look like, and 7 core relationship behaviors that you need to look at in order to recover. But if you're new, my name's Michelle Ferris. I'm a psychotherapist and I love helping people create relationships that work. So what is codependency? It's basically a pattern where you hyper-focus on helping, rescuing, or controlling other people, which results in an unhealthy dependency and a lack of trust. You look outside of yourself for your love, validation, and answers because you can't give it to yourself. So here are the 7 behavior patterns in codependent relationships you need to fix. And then at the end, I'm going to talk more about what codependency recovery looks like. So the first behavior pattern you need to fix in codependent relationships is the tendency to depend too much on other people for your validation, love, and support. So instead of having a variety of friends and a variety of things that make you happy, including you making yourself happy, you glob on to one person or certain people and really look to them for your everything. All of your emotional eggs are in their basket, which sets up a really unhealthy dynamic because at some point the other person, they feel engulfed or trapped because it's too much responsibility for them to be our everything. The other person becomes your higher power, which really sets up the relationship to be toxic because nobody can be your everything. If you've ever had an unhealthy dependency, say me too in the comments. I'm right there with you. This video is going to help. So the second behavior pattern you need to fix in codependent relationships is issues of control and letting go. Because codependent people hold on for dear life. I know for me, I did. If I had a new friend, I would glob on and look to them for my everything. Because that's how I felt worthy and that's how I felt loved. Because I didn't know how to love myself. The other aspect here is issues of control, where most likely if you're codependent, you grew up in a dysfunctional family where you didn't have any control, you didn't have a voice. So control became the only means you found to feel safe. You learned to control your environment, or you learned to control certain behaviors that may have been dysfunctional for you. Because we want to know what's coming. But the problem is in most relationships, we can't know what's coming. In fact, I had a conflict just the other day with a friend and it came out of nowhere. There was nothing I could do to prevent that. But understanding that I don't have control over people, places, and things actually helps me stay more grounded in my recovery. I also go over this in detail in my Healing Codependency course. Now, the next behavior pattern you need to fix in codependent relationships is people pleasing. We please others at our own expense. We give even when it hurts. And we also do this to avoid conflict. So we say yes when we mean no. We overextend ourselves. We do lots of favors. We also read people really well. So we intuitively know what other people want. The problem is that we're so focused on pleasing other people that we most likely are neglecting ourselves in the process. And I don't want that for you. The other thing with people pleasing is we assume that this makes us more desirable. But when we're a people pleaser, we don't have any boundaries and we don't advocate for ourselves. We do whatever is needed to get that love and attention. But the problem is that we don't realize that sometimes this is an unattractive trait because we're not standing up for ourselves. We don't appear confident and set boundaries. And in healthy relationships, those are attractive qualities. Instead, we end up giving ourselves away in relationships. So people pleasing is definitely one of those relationship patterns you want to focus on. So the next behavior pattern in codependent relationships you need to fix is difficulty setting boundaries. And this happens because we're so overly focused on other people that speaking up for ourselves feels really scary. We assume the worst. You may even think, oh my God, people are going to think I'm selfish or I'm demanding, or they're not going to want to hang out with me because it's going to piss them off. And the problem is that a relationship without boundaries is toxic. But when we don't know what we want and need and what our values are, it feels like too big a risk to say no or to offer a different opinion. And the reason we have such difficulty setting boundaries is because we're so afraid of the reaction we're going to get. We assume that people are going to be angry or think that we're being demanding or selfish. But that's the core of a codependent, is we're so focused on what other people want that we lose sight of what's good for us. And difficulty setting boundaries is definitely one of those behaviors you want to target in your recovery. So the next behavior pattern in codependent relationships you need to fix is the tendency to overfunction in your relationships. And this is basically doing more than your fair share. Instead of doing 50% of a relationship, you're doing 110. You're doing everything because you see your value in what you do, not who you are. And this fuels our tendency to overhelp, overgive, do too many favors, be the first person to volunteer, and it wipes us out. If you tend to overfunction, you most likely have a hard time sitting still or just relaxing because you're so used to being a human doing that you're not really a human being. And that's what you need to fix in your codependency recovery. So the next behavior pattern in codependent relationships you need to fix is enabling behaviors. This is where we are, through our own action or inaction, preventing someone else from experiencing their consequences. This is very common with someone who may have a lot of issues. They might be alcoholic. So we tend to take responsibility for their life instead of letting them live their own and feel the consequences of what they're doing or in some cases not doing. But because we get our value in helping, we tend to overhelp. And this is where the enabling really hurts us. Because enabling becomes almost a compulsive need to step into somebody else's life and take responsibility. And that's another core behavior pattern in codependency. Now, the next behavior pattern in codependent relationships is taking things personally. So a major challenge in codependency is being hyper aware of our surroundings. And in some ways that's really good, and in other ways it's a curse. Because we assume if somebody else is upset or having any type of emotion, we think it's because we've done something wrong. Because in childhood, we were most likely blamed a lot. So we go to a family event and somebody looks at us in a weird way and we immediately think, oh my God, they're mad at us. And it creates a lot of unnecessary anxiety. Instead of saying to yourself, you know what? Yeah, maybe my sister-in-law is in a mood, but maybe it has nothing to do with me. Maybe it has something to do with her work or whatever just happened. And that sensitivity to other people's feelings tends to get us in trouble because you assume people are upset at you even when they're not, which may cause you a lot of unnecessary anxiety. So what is codependency recovery? What does that even mean? It's basically a process where you're learning to create mutually satisfying relationships without sacrificing yourself. And how you do that is you're wanting to preserve the traits that you love about yourself. So I'm still a super giver in my relationships. I still have codependent tendencies. But the difference is I don't let them hurt me anymore. I have created a balance between giving and self-care. I'm able to say no when I don't want to do something and say yes when I do want to do something without feeling guilty. And so the next step is for you to go watch my video on the 7 keys of codependency recovery because that's your next step. Thanks so much.